Hello and welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into one of the most fascinating stories out there, early human evolution. Specifically, we're looking at the prehistoric age, which you probably know better as the Stone Age. We're going all the way back to the absolute beginning today to figure out exactly how our ancestors made that incredible leap from wandering the wilderness to actually building the very first civilizations. It's an amazing journey, so let's get right to it.
So I want you to really think about this for a second. Have you ever wondered how humans lived when they had zero houses, absolutely no agriculture, and no written language whatsoever? Imagine a world entirely stripped of modern comforts. There are no grocery stores to grab dinner from, no permanent shelter to lock the door of at night, and not even a single written word to pass down knowledge to the next generation. How in the world did those people survive the elements? What did they eat day to day? And maybe the biggest question of all, how did they manage to eventually kickstart human civilization from scratch? Well, that is the exact puzzle we're going to solve today.
Here is our roadmap for the Explainer. First up, we'll define exactly what prehistory is. Then we'll look at the Old Stone Age, followed by the massive shift of the Neolithic Revolution, and finally we'll wrap up with the Copper Age. Part 1. What is prehistory? Now, the scope of what we're dealing with here is absolutely massive. The prehistoric age is defined very simply. It's the era of human history before the invention of writing. That means no diaries, no ancient tax receipts, no written records of any kind for us to read. And because of this total lack of written history, we basically have to act like detectives working the ultimate cold case. We have to piece together the daily, gritty reality of these early humans using nothing but the physical evidence they accidentally left behind. And what exactly are those clues? Well, our entire understanding of the sprawling timeline comes directly from a handful of physical items. We learn a ton from the stone tools they crafted just to hunt and process food. We learn from the incredibly vibrant cave paintings that give us this rare, raw glimpse into how they actually viewed their world and the animals around them. And of course, we learn from bones and various archaeological remains that have somehow survived thousands upon thousands of years buried in the dirt. These objects, these silent artifacts, are quite literally the only voices these ancient people have left. Moving on to part 2. The Old Stone Age, also known as the Paleolithic Age. The harsh reality of the Old Stone Age meant that humans had to rely on thick, fairly crude stone tools. Their entire existence revolved around hunting animals and gathering wild, uncultivated food. They lived in caves for basic shelter and maintained a completely nomadic lifestyle. That means they were constantly on the move, always chasing migrating herds and seasonal food sources. Just an exhausting way to live. But the crucial turning point here, the absolute game changer, was the discovery of fire. Fire provided warmth during freezing nights, it offered protection from massive predators, and it gave them a way to cook food, which fundamentally altered human survival and nutrition during this rugged era. But then, something crazy happens. We hit a massive turning point in the human timeline, and it begs this critical question. What happened that made these exact same humans suddenly start farming, settling in villages, and kicking off civilization? Up until this moment, early humans were 100% dependent on hunting and moving constantly. So what on earth sparked such a sudden, monumental shift towards staying in one place? To really wrap our heads around this, let's put ourselves right in their shoes. Imagine you are a human living roughly 10,000 years ago. No smartphone, no electricity, and obviously no markets. Your entire waking life is consumed by the stressful need to find calories in the wild. But then, slowly, over generations, a realization occurs. You start to notice that when certain wild seeds fall to the dirt, they eventually sprout and grow into plants you can eat. It's a light bulb moment. You realize that by intentionally planting a seed, you can actually create a reliable, completely predictable food source right in your own backyard. This brings us to part 3, the Neolithic Revolution, or the New Stone Age. I really want you to consider the sheer magnitude of this shift. We are moving from nomadic survival, which again was characterized by constant, exhausting movement just to hunt and gather enough to survive, to settled agriculture. Instead of desperately chasing their dinner across continents, humans are now farming, they're domesticating animals, they're building permanent villages. For the very first time in human history, they are actually controlling their environment rather than just reacting to whatever nature throws at them. Let's look a little closer at the specific, massive technological leaps of this new Stone Age. We see the true beginning of large-scale agriculture and animal husbandry. And because people no longer have to migrate every few weeks, they establish permanent settlements that grow into the world's first villages. With this newfound stability, human innovation just skyrockets. We get the invention of the wheel, which completely revolutionized transportation and physical labor, and we see the creation of pottery, which was a huge deal because it allowed humans to safely store all that surplus grain they were now growing. Basically, everyday life was completely transformed from top to bottom. Finally, Part 4, the Copper Age, which is characterized by Chalcolithic cultures. So during this Chalcolithic period, humans didn't just throw their stone tools away. They leveled up by mastering the use of both copper and stone tools simultaneously. And as you can probably guess, stronger metal tools led directly to a massive expansion in agricultural output. Plowing a field is a lot easier with metal than with a rock. With all this surplus food piling up, people started developing early trade networks to exchange their extra goods. And ultimately, all this booming economic activity and trade forced people to form more complex social organizations. There had to be rules, leaders, and structure. We are quite literally watching the true foundations of modern society forming right here. Well, let's take a quick second to summarize the massive historical arc we just walked through. We started by defining prehistory as the deep era before writing, where we rely purely on physical clues. We looked at the rugged, fire-wielding survival skills of Paleolithic hunter-gatherers. Then we explored that incredible Neolithic farming revolution that allowed humans to finally settle down and invent things like the wheel. And we just wrapped up with Chalcolithic societal growth, where the introduction of metalworking and trade laid the exact groundwork for complex civilization. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really powerful thought to chew on. The Stone Age is not just the history of stones, but the story of the beginning of human civilization. When we study these ancient chipped rocks, these crude tools, and these faded cave walls, we aren't just looking at primitive artifacts. We are looking in a mirror at our own origins. We are studying the incredible resilience and the sheer stubborn ingenuity that allowed our ancestors to survive and eventually build the complex world we live in today. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What seemingly small, everyday innovations of our time will completely define our era to whoever is looking back at us 10,000 years from now. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you in the next one.